What I would say about taxation is, let's take it down to the most basic level, is we need like ungarda síochána, literally, for law and order. Right, that money has to come from somewhere, so it has to come from taxation. We need to defend the borders. That has to come. The money for that has to come from somewhere. So the idea that you can run the state without any taxation is an absurdity. But having said that, the level at which Irish people are taxed and the level at which their tax money is wasted because the government do not view themselves as responsible for how that tax is spent. And in fact, it's like it's free money that's just come from somewhere, that it hasn't come out of the pockets of the working man and woman in Ireland, which is where it does come from. 6 billion, for example, every year is on interest on the national debt, which was contracted to get the ECB out of a banking crisis in 2008. And then they're telling us that we can't spend the money on this and we can't spend money on that, and we can't give Irish nurses enough a living wage. We can't give proper facilities for schools. We can't afford this. We have to be very careful. We have to be. There's no caretaking with the 6 billion. That's in interest rates. There's no caretaking with the 200 billion that we owe. No one took any care of that. So what I would say is the blanket statement that all tax is theft is an exaggeration. But a good deal of the tax that Irish people pay is quite simply a protection racket. That's what I would describe it as. It's a protection racket. It's a shakedown. It's give us your money or we'll put you in jail. That is essentially the threat behind it. Not give us the money and we'll give you these services. It's give us the money or we'll put you in jail. And to provide the necessary services for the Irish people would require a good deal less taxation than we are currently paying. Every other country in the world seems to be able to manage on a lower taxation level than ourselves. And some of those countries are pretty messed up as well. But yet they seem to do better. I mean, France is in chaos, and presumably in chaos again today, over taxes that are considerably less than what we quietly pay without a murmur of protest. So something has to give with regard to tax. So I don't say that like all taxation is theft, but I will say this is a highly overtaxed country, and the focus should be on reducing taxation for the ordinary working man and woman, and for real entrepreneurs, instead of like making contributions of 2.4 billion, for example, just to be members of the European Union, 6 billion on interest rates, money wasted right throughout the civil service because nobody takes any responsibility for how the money is spent. We're a high tax economy, and the left like keep saying that we are a low tax economy, and they say the rich people don't pay enough tax. The rich people in Ireland don't pay any tax, or any tax at all. Bono, for example, who loves to come over and lecture us on how we haven't done enough for the third world, doesn't pay any tax in Ireland. So the what the left define as the rich are the people who are they're making a decent living, but they're not the rich. The super rich do not pay tax in Ireland. Corporations do not pay tax in Ireland. The tax burden is put on the people who, ironically, Leo Varadkar says he's concerned about the people who get up early in the morning. They're the ones who are paying the tax. And rhetoric about how much he cares about them is not the same as doing something for them. And that's something that, along with what we might call the more controversial issues that the National Party are willing to deal with, that the other parties are not willing to address, like immigration, like mass immigration and abortion and the federalisation of the country through the European Union. Also, there are some very, very, very basic things, like the fact that we just pay too much tax in this country given the services we don't get. Seamus mentioned that the water charges specifically. Is what was interesting about that, and the reason the National Party opposed the water charges and would continue to oppose the water charges, is they didn't charge for water services, they charged for the water. They charged literally, and indeed one Fine Gael TD at one point said, what's called, water doesn't just fall from the sky, you know. This is how much this man knew about the weather, never mind the economy. They charged for the water. They said the water was the possession of the state. That's fundamentally wrong. If you're paying for the maintenance of pipes, if you're paying for the maintenance of water structures and water facilities, that's a different thing than paying for the actual water, or the claim that the actual water belongs to the state instead of belonging to the landowner. Had the water charges been introduced the way that they intended to introduce them, for example, this is how badly framed that piece of legislation was, is that it would have been illegal talking about water falling from the sky, it would have been illegal for you to place a bucket outside your front door and collect water in it, because that water that collected in that bucket from the rain belongs to Irish water, not you. So if you brought in that bucket of water and put it in the kettle and boiled up a cup of tea for yourself, that was an illegal cup of tea. That was Irish water's tea that you were drinking, according to the legislation. Now, the maintenance of the network for the supply of water, and whether there should be a charge for that or not, is a completely separate question as to what actually was being imposed with the water charges. We were being charged for the water. We're overtaxed and we're overworked, and we're definitely, as Irish people, we are underappreciated. Our government holds us in contempt and tells us on a daily basis, as regards the immigration issue, is how much better the country is, the less Irish people there are in it. That's how much contempt they have.